friends. Hello. So I'm sorry this is a very ratchet filming setup right now. I just finished editing the video that you're about to watch. And basically, I knew I was going to have to do this, and I was just going to put a little like a screen of just text. But I felt the need to give somewhat of a trigger warning before this video, and I wanted to do it like face to face, you and me. I feel like this video can be very upsetting for some people. As a person filming it who has gone through some of the issues that I'm going to be talking about, it was upsetting to like rewatch. And even though I said the things, it was a hard thing to listen to. It gets a little sad, and I think for some people it could be very triggering. And I don't want anyone to watch it and leave feeling like I did something to like hurt you guys. So if you need to sit this one out, sit this one out, because I totally get it. It's talking about some touchy subjects. I also want to say I rewatched this video a bunch of times, and I've decided I'm going to post it, but I'm a little stressed because I feel like I didn't do a very good job of staying neutral. I like to try and stay a little bit neutral in my videos and at least try and see things from both sides. But because of personal things in my life, that was hard to do for this one. So if you watch my videos because I do that, this might be a little bit different one. Still watch it, I feel like, because I still feel like it's a really good video. It's just a little bit different than my normal My Thoughts, because I don't think there was any sort of redeemable thing about this situation. Yeah, that's all. I really love you guys, and I'm going to... Ooh. And tomorrow's video, Wednesday's video, is going to be a really, really funny, super hysterical video. So if you don't like this deep stuff, you can skip this one, and there'll be one up tomorrow. But I just wanted to let you guys know that before starting the video. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in 2 seconds. And I'll be my made-up self. Okay, bye! Friends, hello. Hi. We're going to be talking about something kind of interesting today. It's something it's not really beauty related. Normally I talk about beauty drama, and that's pretty much my thing. But today something has just been really, really bothering me, and I've decided that I want to talk about it. Initially I was not going to, because a part of it involves something I think is very serious, and I don't think necessarily needs to be speculated on by the public. But then I realized I'm not really talking about that situation. I'm talking about the person who's being a jerk, being not a good person. Today I want to talk about Keemstar, which is kind of weird because I don't really know a lot about him. I don't watch his show, The News. I don't watch his thing. I'm not like, the only time I remember, I think there's been like, basically I was introduced to him fully. I've like seen his stuff pop up in my recommended, and I've probably watched a video or two, like I'm not gonna lie. But I think I remember watching a video of my boyfriend being like, that guy is a trash, so you really shouldn't watch his channel. And then I found the content cop made on him. If you want to know everything that Keemstar has done up until the past 2 weeks, because what I want to talk about is what's been happening the past 2 weeks. iDubbbz made a fantastic content cop on him a couple of years ago, basically just exposing all the horrible things he's done and like really racist, mean, foul, disgusting things that he's done. I'll link that video down below. Not that you guys most people have probably seen the content cop, but just in case you haven't, like I'll link it down below, because I didn't really know who this guy was. Keemstar is a creator on YouTube who makes drama videos, but he does it in a news format. So he calls it news, but not in the way Philip DeFranco does it. He does it in a way that's like more, I don't really know the word. I feel like Philip DeFranco talks about the news, gives his opinion, and then moves on. Whereas Keemstar tries to get like lots of interviews with people. He really strictly talks about YouTube drama, whereas Philip DeFranco talks about stuff in the world. Also, I just prefer Philip DeFranco because I think he's great. I love him. I actually watched an interview when I was doing kind of research for this. Watched the H3H3 interview with Keemstar, where he talked about how he'd had his channel taken away a lot for a lot of different reasons. just a lot of things. It's a lot. You can find, I'll link all of the videos that I found to kind of give me a gist of who this person was down below. So if you guys are curious, without giving him money, you can go watch other people's videos that give you the gist of like what's going on with him. What I want to talk about and what I'm really, really upset about are the past couple of weeks, the way that he has been acting on Twitter. I have not seen a lot of people talk about this, and I truly believe that the reason not a lot of people are talking about this is because he, number one, has a very, from what I've seen, he has a very cult-like following. He has stans that will kind of, they're very troll-like, and they'll kind of destroy you if you try to talk about this. I've decided I'm fine with that. Number two, I think no person is too little for him to pick on. So me at 6,000 subscribers, he has over 2 million, I think. If he caught wind of this, I feel like he would tweet about it, because he just doesn't, he'll destroy anyone who talks badly about him. He'll try to destroy. And again, I've just decided I don't care about that. What I wanted to talk about here was the tweets that he has been putting out. Why I think they're so dangerous, not even just whatever, and basically just give you my overall thoughts on why I don't like this person and actively dislike this person, and think more creators need to be stepping up and condemning his actions, because he's doing horrible things. I think it was sometime last week, I saw someone responding to a tweet of his in reference to, I don't want to say this person's name, because although this person made it very public what happened to them, I still think it's that person's right. Another YouTuber was claiming that she had been sexually assaulted by a different YouTuber, a male YouTuber that she was dating. And she claimed she had been raped by that person. They went to court, and they settled. Something happened where he got a plea deal, and they settled. And that was it. That was the end of that situation for that woman. And that woman was very vocal about it. It was really traumatic for her. She was very brave in talking about her story, telling other people what had happened to her, which in 2018 is still incredibly difficult to do. And the fact that she went to court and tried to seek some form of justice is something everyone should be praising her for. And Keemstar decided that he didn't think that had happened, because apparently he was there and he saw the whole thing, and he knows everything. Something I've learned is that he truly thinks he knows everything. But he basically tweeted out insinuating that this YouTuber was lying, and insinuating that because he got a plea deal, that obviously means he's not guilty, which is so stupid. Probably the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Like, you have to have such little knowledge of any court proceedings or any situation to think that somebody taking a plea deal means that they're not guilty. Like, getting a plea deal offered so that it didn't go to court means they're not guilty. Just break it down. There's so many reasons that a plea deal would be offered in any situation. Number one being money. It's so much money to go through a trial, go through everything, have the whole 9 yards with a jury, and convict someone of being guilty. That is so expensive. And the process, the length of time it takes, the money it takes, the emotional stress that takes is a lot. So a lot of times, people will offer plea deals not because they can't prove that the person did it. They'll offer a plea deal so they don't have to go through all of that, especially in cases, because that's such a traumatic thing. Every single day you have to go and sit in a room with the person who assaulted you. That's a traumatic thing to have to go through. And you have to pay someone to defend you and convince 12 people, convince a jury that he did this to you. Plea deals make a lot of sense in these types of cases, is what I'm trying to say. It does not mean that they didn't have enough evidence to convict this man. They actually did. They had plenty of evidence to convict him. They had a voice recording, came out later because a friend of this YouTuber saw Keemstar's tweets and made a whole video about it, basically exposing all of the tea of what was happening. And she basically said they had a recording of him admitting he'd done it. They had voice notes of him admitting. They had hard evidence that he had committed this crime. And Keemstar didn't know any of that because he's an idiot and he doesn't take the time to know any of that. And he tweeted, if I can remember correctly exactly what it was,
I didn't screenshot it, and I should have. I responded to it, but it's probably deleted now. He deleted the tweet because he later put his foot in his mouth and he had to apologize for what he didn't even apologize, though. I'll get into it. He basically tweeted something along the lines of, people who lie about are hurting victims, insinuating that this YouTuber had lied about this. There's so much to unpack in that statement. I don't even know where to begin. Because, yes, that's true. People who lie about being sexually assaulted, yes, that's bad. That's not a good thing. It's so frustrating to me because the point he's making, he's not actually making that point. His point wasn't to stick up for victims of assault. That wasn't the point of his tweet. He wasn't trying to advocate for women who have been assaulted. He was trying to call another person a liar. He wasn't trying to bring awareness to false allegations. He was trying to shade another YouTuber on a subject that he frankly knew absolutely nothing about. That is so annoying. That's so annoying. That's absolutely deplorable. Like, that's just a disgusting thing to do. I don't understand how this wasn't, like, the top story that everyone was talking about. That's a horrible thing to do and a horrible way to use your platform, and it should be completely condemned. The friend who had stuck up for the other YouTuber, like, he quote tweeted her tweet and was like, I think after he watched her video and she explained all the details and she educated him, first of all, if you are not completely educated on a topic as serious as this, you have zero reason to be talking about it. Zero. No reason. There's no reason for you to be speaking up. If you are not completely and fully aware of everything that happened in that situation, keep your fucking mouth shut. There's nothing you have to say on that situation unless you're educated, okay? That's number one. Number two, then after he was educated, he's like, I really have to take a step back from this, and I don't think I want to talk about this situation anymore because I didn't know all the details. Then she talks about victim blaming. And this is what he said. I hope you will take some time to learn about rape culture and victim blaming because honestly, you had me fucked up today. And he said, you can't victim blame if you don't believe the victim is a victim. I didn't believe the victim was a victim, but now you may have changed my mind. Am I blaming her now? No, because I'm starting to believe you. First of all, you are not involved. You have no horse in this race. You have no right to have an opinion or I believe you or I don't believe you. It's not your business. None of this was his business. None of this. He made it his business. He wanted the drama. He wanted to be involved in this. He made it his thing. He wasn't involved in this in any way. None of this was about, he's not even friends. I think he might be friends with the guy, but like he's not involved in this situation, first of all. So the whole I'm starting to believe you, nobody cares if you believe it or you don't. Just keep your mouth shut, number one. I'm sorry I'm getting so angry. This got me so heated. And the next topic that he tweeted about, like 3 days later, it gets me even more heated. So basically, the first sentence, which is like, you can't victim blame if you don't believe a victim is a victim, is so stupid. That's literally dumb. That's a dumb statement. For someone who makes so much money and has so many followers, I thought he might at least have some sort of brain, but I'm starting to learn that just because you have followers doesn't mean you're smart. Especially because, and I'm not saying this to be shady, I'm really not. Because there's nothing wrong with having an audience that is mostly kids. There's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong is people pretending like that's not the case. He literally has a child audience. That's who subscribes to him. And I'm not just saying that because I'm like, oh, I want to say that. All he talks about, I think he's made probably over 100 videos talking about Jake Paul. And do you want to know who's interested in if Jerica is still a thing? 12-year-olds. So most of his audience he's catering to are children. So I started to realize it's really easy for him to have this audience because they're kids. They don't know what they're doing. The whole, I can't be victim blaming because it's not I didn't think she was a victim. I don't know how to explain how dumb that is. I'm really trying to think of a nice way to explain how fucking idiotic that statement is. It's difficult. Just because you think something isn't true doesn't just magically make it not true. It just is absolutely infuriating. Someone like Keemstar has found success. And what's even more infuriating is the fact that not a lot of people talked about this. And I was really disappointed by that, because this is something that was happening not only publicly, but it was in the YouTube community. It was another YouTuber targeting a YouTuber and calling her a liar on something that I feel is really serious. Next thing that he talked about, and the next thing he tweeted it like 3 days later. This is something that I feel was meant to create drama. And I'll talk about why. Because about 24 hours before he tweeted out what he tweeted out, he basically said, like, there's no drama. I'd kill for some drama. I just want some drama. Like, he had no news to report. I keep saying news because it's not news. It's bullshit. There's no news to report, whatever. And then he made a tweet about Demi Lovato. Most of you know probably what's been going on with her. She had an overdose, and it was really sad and scary. And she's fine, and she's recovering, and that's amazing. And I hope she keeps fighting for her sobriety. I hope she keeps fighting for herself and all of that. But he made a tweet that was basically, she put out a statement like yesterday, basically saying, I'm fine and I just want space, and basically just like letting people know what we already knew, and that she was going to take some time or whatever, and that she had an illness. I'm going to start this off by saying, this is not the video for you if you don't think that drug addiction is an illness. This isn't the video for you. I don't know how else to describe this except like, that is what it is. You can go out and have a glass of wine and you're fine. If I were to go out and have a glass of wine, I would want 5 of them, and I wouldn't be satisfied until I was very, very drunk. It is a chemical imbalance. My grandpa, my grandma, my other grandma, I don't know about my other grandpa because he died way before I was born, but 3 out of the 4 grandparents are confirmed alcoholics, so got that going for me. I have how many uncles? 2 uncles that are alcoholics, 100%. One just passed away last year because of alcoholism. I come from a very long line of people who are addicted to alcohol because of a chemical imbalance in their brain. It is not because they want to be that drunk all the time or they want to do that. It's something, and I think in a way, it's harder. Before I get into the Keemstar stuff, I do want to talk about this a little bit because I think I have a different perspective coming from where I'm coming from. I think alcoholism is something that's hard for people to comprehend because to them, normal, regular people can go out to a bar, casually drink with their friends, and go home and have a great night. And that's not the life of an alcoholic. That's completely different. But to some people, they can't understand it because they're like, well, I can do it, so why can't you? This is the best way I can help explain addiction, because the reason I can't do it is because I don't want to. It's because there is a chemical imbalance that forces me to want more. I have an incredibly addictive personality, like 100%. Everything in my life is like either the highest of highs or the lowest of lows. It's just how I am in my life. And I think it's even harder for people to understand a situation like Demi Lovato's where it's a drug addiction, because if you're living an average life, you're probably not getting, I mean, you can, because anybody can get addicted to drugs, but the average person isn't trying cocaine or trying heroin or whatever. So they don't understand that. They're like, well, why would you even do it in the first place? Like, what's the point? Number one, I feel like I'm preaching, but I want to explain this to some in a nice, positive way so that if you maybe truly don't understand it, like I'm trying to help people understand it. The reason drug addiction happens mainly, especially with opioids, which is like pills and heroin and really, really dark drugs, the reason it happens with those and the reason people get addicted to those are mostly because actually doctors prescribe them painkillers. So, what's a good example? If you get prescribed something because you have back pain, you get prescribed a painkiller, it's incredibly easy. Anybody can get addicted to painkillers, anyone. Because at first you're addicted to the feeling of not having pain, and then you're just addicted to the feeling, and it spirals. And then your doctor stops prescribing them to you, but now you're hooked and you're addicted. So now, and this is where it's not a choice anymore, is kind of my point. It's not a choice anymore to go out and get more drugs. It is, I guess, but it's not, because it's so hard to explain, because there is a factor, I truly believe, there's a factor of personal responsibility in drug use. I think at a certain point, you have to take like some accountability that you did those things, but you also have to understand that it's not really you doing it. It's something inside of you that has altered, that is compelling you to do that. It's not just you on your own. The other thing a lot of people don't consider is people get, and I know people are going to think I'm a narc and I'm lame because I know weed is super like, everyone's fine with it now, but people, it's true, and I've seen it happen to friends where they start smoking weed, and weed itself, I think is, I mean, I have people around me who smoke it, and they seem fine. But for some people, it's not fine. And they want a bigger high, and they want more and more and more, and they start doing it more, and they start all of this stuff, and it's like, it doesn't, I don't know how else to describe it other than it just spirals. It spirals so fast. And I don't know what Demi Lovato's situation is, obviously. Like, I have no connection to her. I have no idea what her life has been like. For a lot of people, it's escapism. The reason there's so much drugs in low-income areas is because they're sad. People are sad. And the only way that you can't understand it unless you've been there. But the reason people are like that is it's not as much of a choice as people think it is. The best way I can describe it to people, and I think I've said this example on my channel before, but it would be like if you were driving in your car and you ran a red light by accident. You weren't paying attention, you were goofing off, you might have been texting, you ran a red light, and somebody smashed into the side of your car and made you a paraplegic. Would I not feel bad for you or help support you and help do all of those things because you made a mistake that led to something really ruining your life? Would I turn my back on you? Would society turn their back on you? Because that's what you're asking people to do to addicts. You're asking them to turn their back on someone because they made one mistake in life that led them down a really dark and bad path. That's the best way I can describe it. And I wanted to talk about that in this video because I wanted to explain just why what he's saying here is so damaging. I talked about before how he has a young audience. A lot of it's kids, a lot of it's like little 13-year-old trolls. They're probably here telling me how fat I am, and that's fine. He said, drugs are for losers. Demi should have said that in her statement. Not addiction is an illness. That makes it sound like there's no choice, but there was a choice. You don't come out of the room with a crack pipe. At some point, you made a choice and did drugs. Don't be a loser. I'm not trying to be like a little PC princess over here. I'm really the least PC person. I try really hard to just like not get super hyper offended over things. But this isn't just offensive, it's dangerous. Because he's spreading that message to kids and he's so uninformed and so wrong that it's like scary. Because number one, drugs are for losers. Incorrect. Just flat out, that's not true. That's literally not true. Have you ever had a drink of alcohol? That's a drug. Have you ever smoked a cigar or a cigarette? That's a drug. Pretty much sugar, caffeine, all of these things are drugs. Drugs are not, and also, I know what he's inferring, that he's talking about like larger scale, bigger, more addictive drugs and stuff like that. So many people that you would never expect. It's not just people. He's really pushing that narrative of like only people that use drugs are like homeless people on the streets that have nothing going on for them at the moment. And that's just not true. It can happen. I've seen it. I've seen so many types of people, and I've seen people from all different walks of life, and it does not matter who you are or what situation you're in, it can affect you. You're so lucky if it hasn't, and I pray that it doesn't happen to him because I don't want him to have to experience that. But he has no idea what he's talking about. Demi should have said that in her statement. Demi is too worried focusing on getting herself better and recovering from her overdose. Thank you, though, Keemstar, for that insight. Not addiction is an illness. But he put that in quotes. And I think because he was quoting the article, but also that infers that it's not true. It is true. I know people hate this argument, and I know a lot of people are against this and don't think that this is true. He also said something here about you don't come out of the womb with a crack pipe. Some people literally are born, especially if their parents are addicts or something happened, and their parents use drugs. There are kids who are literally born with addictions. I met someone whose daughter was born addicted to crack cocaine. Actively addicted, went through withdrawals as a child. So that's just wrong, number one. But number two, you can be born with the chemical predisposition to be addicted to things. And that's a fact. It's a scientific fact. it's taken so long to get it to be like, this is a scientific fact. We've put it in books now, and people are still questioning it. And that's the part that frustrates me, I guess, is about this, is he's sending a message to his young audience that addiction is not an illness. It is just a choice. And all of the people that do drugs are just losers. That is so ass backwards and so stupid. That's something I would expect to hear in like 1953 if I were ever to time travel. Not something I would expect to see someone posting about on Twitter in 2018 in response to somebody's really dark, and obviously this is like her break. This is a dark hour for her. Like, she just overdosed. She's still in the fucking hospital and you're already tearing into her? Like, what is wrong with you as a person? He then makes fun of it. He makes fun of mental illness, which I can't even, it's all just so stupid. And I think this is the reason a lot of people don't understand drug addiction, is because he goes, at one point in my life, many years ago, I did a lot of coke in the club scene. I was being a loser. So I have no problem calling out any other druggie a loser. You're so lucky. If anything, this proves my point. Because you were able to do a drug that was addictive, and you don't have that chemical imbalance in your brain, and you were able to stop. Congratulations to you. That is not the scenario for everyone. Some people, I know people who can just casually do really addictive drugs and be fine. I don't know why. I don't know how. I don't think a lot of people know why or how, but they can. Congratulations to those. First of all, not congratulations, because you can still die from them. Don't do them, number one. But number two, some people totally can do that, and that's great. That's not everyone's story. Not everyone is the same. I don't want to go off on this too hard, because I know he's the type of person, Keemstar, who says things that are just incredibly inflammatory, I think, to get a reaction. I think he likes it. I think he likes the attention. I think he likes the reaction. I think he truly likes this and enjoys people getting upset by things he says. I don't know if he actually means these things, but unfortunately, because he has such a large following, I think we need to treat them like they are what he thinks. If this is what he's saying publicly, this is what he means, so we need to treat it as such. He has a following of young, impressionable kids. And I'm not saying that because all kids are stupid and they're all impressionable, but if you see your idol Keemstar being like, yeah, drug addicts are just for losers, and chances are, by the way, this isn't going to like prevent kids from doing drugs. I feel like that's the counter argument that could be made, that he's saying they're for losers and it's going to prevent kids from doing drugs. Do you know how many programs they've tried in schools that are like so similar to this? It doesn't prevent kids from doing anything. All it does is create a prejudice amongst kids that other people who are struggling in life don't deserve any help or any sympathy and deserve to be ostracized from society because they're just losers. It's ignorant and it's stupid. It makes me really mad, obviously. I don't really know where to go from here because there's no solution, except I wanted to vent about it, and I wanted to just like talk to people about this and see maybe what you guys think. I think truly I don't understand why this isn't talked about. I kind of wish, and also I just saw like Shane Dawson took a selfie with him and posted a picture with him, and I was like, these people have to know what he's done and the things that he said and the awful thing. Like, people have to know. The support that he has from the YouTube community is, I think, what bothers me more than anything, and is something that really grosses me out. And I really wish it wasn't the case, because I hate it. I really hate it. Just everything about it I hate. But yeah, that's my video. I'm sorry if it seems like I was being like rambly or preachy or anything like that. This has just been a lot of stuff I wanted to say for a long time, so I'm glad I got to say it. But yeah, I love you guys. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, or just subscribe, or do neither. I'm honestly just so happy you're watching. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!